Welcome back to another edition of Grok Talk, brought to you by GraniteGrok.com and Grok Media LLC. This week, we're talking about someone named Jamie Bradley, who I had never heard of until about 2 days ago. He's the executive director of the Seacoast Repertory Theatre, which is based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, known around here as the Rep. And I think we can safely say that Jamie Bradley lives in a progressive bubble, that he probably doesn't know anyone who doesn't agree with him. And, well, at least anyone who would admit it, because he's in the music and theater industry. That's his gig. And so he probably felt pretty safe saying moderately nasty things about Charlie Kirk, perfectly acceptable in that safe space. So Jamie posted something online, and I think he figured, everybody I know agrees with me. Everybody I talk to thinks the way I do. So how bad could that be? Well, we're going to find out how bad it was. Grok Talk starts in less than 60 seconds. Not everyone can get up every day and look for ways to piss people off. But here at GraniteGrok.com, we do that almost every day. I can't tell you how many times someone's lost their SHIT and threatened to end us. But we're still here, pissing people off. It's almost like we enjoy it. And we've been doing it since 2006. That's almost 2 decades of news, politics, and opinion, and now podcasts, and we're just getting started. We believe in principles before parties and politicians. We defend free markets and individual liberty, and if that makes you mad, it makes us smile. We're like Grandma after she stopped caring what other people thought. If that sounds refreshing, you need to check us out. This is Steve McDonald for Granite Grok, and we'll keep shining the light on them for you. As your atypical, stewed in the entertainment and theater left-winger, a product of decades in the music and theater industry, we shouldn't expect anything different. And if you recall, the theater breeds the most intolerant and vile progressives of all. And so he definitely felt safe saying nasty things about Charlie Kirk. So he probably figured, this is harmless, right? I'll just post this. Nobody's really going to care. And if they do, so what? So here it is. Scott Pressler on X saw it. He shared it. He pinned it with Portsmouth, New Hampshire. He also shared some other things about Jamie that maybe Jamie thought he was proud of. His connections to in support for Antifa, for example. And, we have all this confirmed. Scott provided us some images that link him and his band and his statement. And I'm just curious why he maybe didn't want anybody to know about that. And he's flaunting his Antifa ties on social media. He's using his Jamie Bradley Band account, which has Antifa logos on it. He's obviously been Antifa and pro-Antifa and a reliable stooge for left-wing narratives. And so after this revelation on X went wide, guess what happened? I don't think he's as proud as we thought he was, or as proud as he thought he was. The staff and board page for the Seacoast Repertory Theatre website, it's not there. Oops, something's wrong. This page doesn't exist. Well, that's just the beginning for Jamie. Repertory Theatre took the page down, and I'm wondering if it was because their executive director was, busted for being Antifa, or if he's just a douchebag. I don't think he's a douchebag. I think they would have known that in advance if he were. And to be honest, they're probably all douchebags, so they just kind of figured that was what was normal. My guess is they didn't want to hear from the public about Jamie's post and his link to Antifa. So they took the board and staff page down so that nobody could be contacted on the board of the Repertory Theatre, so that the theater staff wouldn't have to hear it from the public, or anyone else for that matter. But that's just the beginning, as I pointed out before. They do have a bigger problem. The Repertory Theatre also has a huge problem with his behavior and their equity vision statement, available at seacoastrep.org, Mission Equity Vision Statement. I'll share the link below this broadcast. Seacoast Repertory Theatre, its board of trustees, and its diverse leadership and staff are committed to fostering, upholding, and celebrating the majesty, dignity, and equality of all human beings. No, they're not. The Seacoast Repertory Theatre is fully engaged in representing the vastly unique perspectives, experiences, and voices of all humanity and its stories that it shares. And oh, so warm and fuzzy. The Rep is an equal opportunity employer dedicated to cultivating a thriving, safe, and diverse workplace and community. No, it's not. By focusing on the enrichment and growth of every person we work with and serve, by engaging in the practice of examining the human condition through the shared experience of live theater arts and education. I don't think they are. Anyway, so this whole warm, fuzzy, kind of like we all just get along thing, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Because theater people really are the nastiest, most intolerant progressives on the planet. Anybody who's involved in theater, and I don't mean entertainment as in television and movies and literature and the rest of it. I'm talking stage theater. It is well-documented fact that they are the most intolerant progressives that exist on the planet. Jamie Bradley, interestingly enough, if I can find the page. I did find a page about him. It was backalleyproductions.com. This hasn't been taken down yet. It says Jamie Bradley is an extraordinarily talented musician and performer. Well, good for him. Fantastic. He is a resident actor at the Seacoast Repertory Theatre. In addition to joining us each year, he frequently shares his talents with many amazing production companies on the Seacoast, such as Seven Stages Shakespeare Company and The Players Ring. Jamie has been writing songs consistently for over 20 years and has over 150 original compositions in his catalog. Again, excellent, outstanding. I bet he's really good because he's been doing this for so long, and it appears to be how he makes his living. In the early 1990s, Jamie made a name for himself within the rankings of folk singers, songwriters in and around Boston, in coffee houses and clubs in northern Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire. Fantastic. That's great for you. So what's next for Jamie? Well, not promoting himself appears to be what's next for Jamie. If you try to look him up, you'll get lots of links. They all used to work. They don't work anymore. His Jamie Bradley Band Facebook page isn't working anymore. It's just not there. The Jamie Bradley personal Facebook page, that's not there either. Jamie Bradley's LinkedIn page shows up in search. No longer exists at LinkedIn. The Jamie Bradley Band Instagram page isn't available. And I bet if we did an extended search to things like TikTok and all the other places you might expect somebody like Jamie Bradley to promote himself and his work and the things he's associated with, we won't find much because he took it all down. I don't know if he was told to take it down. I don't know if he just did it on his own because he was fearful for his life because, he's probably a victim just like every other progressive. And the first thing victims do is come up with excuses to be a victim, even when they maybe asked for it. So we don't want anybody hurting Jamie Bradley. We don't want anybody threatening Jamie Bradley. We don't want anybody trying to intimidate him, dox him, or anything else. But making fun of him, we're wide open. We're ready for that right here. So anyway, I guess the real question is, how do you go about being a real progressive and saying what you think, because, free speech, right? And supporting Antifa. I mean, he literally, if you look at the post, Antifa is in his post for his band. He's clearly involved or supporter or embracing their tactics or something. If those views are so mainstream and so acceptable and so protected, why the self-imposed blackout? I could read some notes that I wrote up because I thought it was important enough to get this right. I thought this new old progressive resistance was, to convince everyone that Trump was a fascist and Republicans were Nazis, that this would draw America back to the Democrat Party, landslide 2026 midterm victories are coming our way because America wants open borders, criminal aliens, drug and human trafficking, soft on crime DAs, the conversion therapy and neutering of kids via the grooming and transgender agenda. How about high taxes? We love those. Abrogating power to globalists, force-failed multiculturalism, stagnating economies in perpetuity, overpriced, unreliable energy, and a militarized censorship state. Isn't that what, I mean, okay. In 2024, America said no to that. They elected Trump and Republicans. And if you elected some Democrat majorities, they would try to stop or reverse anything Trump was doing to fix all of those things I just talked about. So doesn't going into hiding, kind of invalidate the whole premise that narrative is what people really want? I mean, if I'd double down, right? I mean, I'd say, yeah, damn right I'm Antifa if that's what I was and I was so proud of it. Or, yeah, I really do think that, it's a good thing that Charlie Kirk finally got his shot, that anti-vaxxer guy. If you're going to say shit, stand up for it. If you're not going to stand behind it, shut up. I think the rep probably told Jamie to do those things, and he may have done some of them on his own, but his band, I mean, everything that he has out there, I had a hard time finding anything. You can find links to stories about Jamie Bradley, but anything that's Jamie Bradley is gone. The entire staff at the rep. So I guess it's really telling that he stepped up and said something in his safe space that he thought was amusing. And it was clever. I'll give you that. But he's walked away from it. He's in hiding. And the people of Portsmouth and the people of New Hampshire, anybody around the Seacoast, anybody around the state, should be asking, hey, what's wrong? Why aren't you proud of your Antifa support, or why aren't you proud of the thing you said? Why did you take it all down? Why did you hide it? And that's what really matters. And what about other Democrats? What do they have to say? I know there's Democrats in the state who would say, yeah, we totally support what he said. Make a note of who those people are. These are the people who have probably already celebrated murder. They're celebrating murder. Don't forget that. We've talked about that on the GT Morning Update. We've mentioned it in past podcasts. These people are celebrating the assassination of another human being. That makes them evil. That's just sinister. There is something wrong with that. And as I spoke about last week, I believe, or maybe I wrote about it. Hard to tell, there's so much content. I don't even know where stuff goes down. What do you think they would think about you if you disagreed with them? Would they censor you? Well, we know they would, because they did, and they have, and they would do it again, because, when they can't censor you, what do? They put a bullet in your neck. Well, I don't know if Jamie would do that to you. I'm hoping he would say no, but he doesn't seem too proud about what he did in recent days based on his public post, and he's gone dark. So anything you know about Jamie Bradley, you can send it to us. Once again, don't be mean to him. Just make fun of him. Because that's enough. Because while the left believes in Alinsky's rule about ridicule, they're not very good at taking ridicule. So that's why we give them as much of it as we can. Please remember to check in every morning for the GrokTALK AM morning update. And please remember to check out all our other podcasts. We have one every single night, and we have a couple extras that we publish that don't have their own time slot specifically that you might want to look into. We have memes 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Lots of content, local, national, and global. Some of it about stories right in your backyard, like this story in Portsmouth. And we look forward to seeing you next week and every morning until then. Bye.
GrokTALK.